believe we are live from Lake Wales, Florida, on a magical Saturday where we got married. We got married 52 weeks ago today, and tomorrow we will celebrate our 1 year anniversary.
In this lifetime.
They said we were crazy.
We knew we were crazy.
But we're each other's kind of crazy, and so we thought we'd come on tonight and do a special anniversary edition of Keeping It Magical. Congratulations on 1 year of putting up with each other.
Oh, I have to show them that you're my person.
Yeah, you're.
Because our coffee mugs have
Right.
been kind of like a staple of our lives. In general, like lives, like basically live streams
including
and lives.
taking Kevin to the hospital one morning. But that was in episode number I don't know, I can't remember.
Oh, the one that was about coffee, wounds, and Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, yeah, the Mr. Rogers one.
Yeah.
But that was episode whatever. Anyway, we've done 30.
You have to check it out on YouTube and find out.
There you go. Episode whatever on YouTube. There's over, I think, 57 videos on YouTube, or 67 videos, I believe, on YouTube.
There's about 60.
Because Kevin did quite a few shorts himself, and then Melanie just took some of the funniest moments and put them on there too.
63 videos.
63 videos. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a lot of funny shorts in there, and the one where Cammy just says Kevin's the problem. It was just hilarious. That I'll never forget that night.
I think it's interesting that the one, and I'll tell you exactly.
But anyway, we thought we'd come on and do a year review, and it really was magical from the very first conversation. That I still remember just about everything about that first conversation,
mm-hmm.
and how blown away I think we both were. I'm just speaking for myself, but
well, I mean,
but it was truly magical. We spent the 4 days in Daytona, and then when we got back, we knew we wanted to spend our lives together. We knew this was it. This is what we had waited for, and
I want to be taller than you. Just kidding.
For once. And anyway, you always distract me when I'm talking. So anyway, we came back from Daytona, and we decided to move in together and get married. Mm-hmm. And so we were married on 52 weeks ago. After 4 weeks of knowing each other.
Yeah.
That's how much we talked. We probably talked more in that 4 weeks than most married couples have for 20 years.
Very true. Very true.
And then we went on and we made a lot of sacrifices. At first you were hunting for a job and I was working, and then you got the job and we moved, a new school, a new job, and
mm-hmm.
Kevin played Mr. Dad and or Mr. Mom, however you want to look at it. And we really did. We sacrificed for each other. We did what we needed to do to build a pretty, I think, solid foundation. Although Kevin
I have to say that if you haven't figured out by now, Melanie is really big on the words that we use.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to say that we made a lot of sacrifices, but I think that's typically the way that people talk about it, but I just, for a second, like to just propose maybe they weren't sacrifices. Maybe they were just decisions that we made that we knew were going to cause us to have a change in what we knew as normal in our lives, but that it was something that we didn't just sacrifice. It was something we willingly and wanted to do,
willingly,
because it was something that we felt like was in our best interest,
Well, it was gonna
and in our family's best interest, and in our mission and our value and our purpose in life.
It wasn't
Best
going to just.
interest.
It wasn't just going to be good for one of us. It was going to be good for all of us, including Cammie, including your family. I think, and everybody that was involved. I just.
So maybe it wasn't so much making sacrifices as it was taking risks and being willing to take that step into the unknown.
Even say risk, because it didn't really seem like that much. I know I've used it in my poetry and all that. We took the risk, we took the chance, and it's a risk and a chance, especially if you've been hurt. But this was worth taking. I mean, gosh, you're just so young and beautiful, and you got such a talent in mind, and we really did. We connected on so many different levels, and that was the ticket. We wanted the same things. We wanted to strive for the same things. We dreamed about the same things, and I didn't see myself being a dad again. I had almost given up on that thought that I was going to be a dad again, but stranger things have happened.
and as we've said, be careful what you pray for. He was praying for one female in his life, and he ended up with 2. Now he has 3, if you count our.
Now I got an 8-year-old girl and a
14-year-old puppy.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. She's 6 months old, but she's
but
about as sassy as a teenager.
And she gives me just as much trouble as her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was a decision that I had to make, because I wasn't going to sit here and tell you that I loved you and just play games with you. You had a daughter that you're raising, and if I was going to do this, then I had to be serious about it. And I think I'm pretty much serious about a 503-page book that we wrote together. Kevin poured his heart and soul out to you, but I think it's not that I have to. It's that I want to. You inspire me. You give me reason to believe in love again, and I hope that I've done the same thing for you.
What you do, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what it is. Find that one person that can make you believe that you can spend your lifetime loving the same person, which I think is just beautiful. Who doesn't look at an old couple walking down the street, or an old man holding the door open for his wife, or her making sure that he gets the right food because he can't hear too good, and there's nothing cuter than an old couple that's been there for each other for the sands of time. And I want to spend the rest of my life with you. You know that. I think everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. But some more things that I wrote down. The wow factor for Kevin, because I was a single biker before we met, and I was going around and I was listening to bands and I was singing karaoke, and I was looking for you out there, but you weren't out there. You were in hiding somewhere, and somebody told me right before we met, they go, "You're not going to find her in a bar, Kevin." And I kind of knew that, but I liked my music, and that was kind of a way for me to soothe my soul. But when we met, it really was. I just think it was just the angels just pushing us together, because it's unexplainable how it happened. We've tried to explain it so many times, but I think we both really did. We needed this in our life. Cammie needed a good male figure, someone that can show her that her mom is loved properly. We always say that about our dog. I say she's spoiled rotten, and you go,
yeah, every time he says that Cammie or Scout are spoiled, I'm like, no, they're just loved properly.
And then, of course, we wrote a 503-page book, which Melanie has worked on, and it's condensing down some, which, to be honest, we kind of overdid it. But she didn't want to leave anything out, and I'm like, I don't care, but It really was it's a big book. It's right there on the shelves behind us. Um, but it was I think it was a beautiful thing for us to do.
Mm-hmm.
You put a lot of work and effort into it, and I gotta applaud your talents. And because it's self-published, no one helped her edit it or publish it or anything else like that. She did it all by her lonesome. With
Which was a big step for me as a recovering perfectionist because I had to just get to a point where I accepted and acknowledged that
you were talented
that
enough,
it's okay for there to be mistakes.
right?
It's okay for it to not be perfect. It's okay for you to look back at it later on and go, well, we could do this differently, or we could have done that differently. But you know what? You know how many people sit around trying to make it perfect and trying to wait until they have no mistakes and trying to wait until they feel like it's
Everything's perfect.
and they end up never doing it.
Never.
And so there's just an importance in just doing it. If you have a goal and you have something you really, really want to do, just do it. Make it happen. Like, I mean, do I feel like that it was a waste? Absolutely not. Do I feel like it's something that we can go back and we can use and we can maybe offer in different formats and different in different ways and utilize it to just further what it is that we really set out to do?
Right.
Absolutely.
Which we did. We talked about this question before we came on. Why did we start keeping it magical? And I think I'll give my answer first this time, and because you got a more in-depth look at it than I do, I got a more simplified look at it. But I do. I started this journey 4 years ago, and by writing out what had happened in my life, it really was my way of healing. It was my way of not only healing, but connecting with a lot of people who had been through a lot of the same situations that I had.
Right.
And by talking about it, by bringing it out and open, by being authentic, which was so important to me, because I never felt like I was accepted for who I was. So here I was out in the middle of nowhere by myself, and I was just being me. And I didn't care what anybody thought, but I was going to tell my story, and I was going to tell it like I saw it. And when I did, it connected with so many different people. And I think when we met, it was exemplified even more because I think I had been talking about this amazing kind of love that true love truly does exist. It's not
and
all
I
just
didn't
games.
even know he'd been doing all of this
But
stuff.
it's not all just games. I said there are real people out there that really want to give it their all and be lifelong partners and be committed and loyal and all that stuff and honest with each other. And I always did believe that it was out there, that it was going to happen to me. I kept on telling people and people kept on telling me, it's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to you. And even right before we met, it was like, it's going to happen to Kevin to you. That she's right there. And even when I moved to Winter Haven, I was like, she's here. I told Tracy, I said everything fell apart, and I go, she's here. I can feel it. Mm-hmm. And you were just literally right around the corner. But but when we met, it wasn't like you had stalked my profile or anything like that. It truly was a magical meeting. But go on.
Which I think something maybe we haven't really talked about, but that I think it's important that all of that just kind of goes right into is that there may have been this whole huge group of people out there that had been reading the things you were writing and that knew what it was you were looking for and knew about the things you had been through and just, and I'm thankful and grateful that those people were there for you at that time.
Right.
But I think that it's so important to know that while I was not intentionally not reading or not aware of what he had been writing, it was just that wasn't what drew us together from the start.
Right.
It was what gave us a connection that led to our conversation continuing, that led to us realizing all of these different parallels and all of these different synchronicities and all of these different shared values and desires and wants. But it was not about me approaching you with prior knowledge of what you wanted so that I could pretend to be everything you had been looking for.
No, it wasn't anything like
and
that.
And vice versa, you know, because I think a lot of times that's the way people approach things. Like when you meet someone, you think, oh, well, they're looking for this, and this, so let me try to be this, and this, you know. And so I think when they come into that first conversation or that first meeting, they're not truly being their authentic self. They're being, and maybe they're not, it's not that they're not being true or honest to themselves, but I think that there's this just human quality that makes us want other people to like us, so we're going to put forth that part of ourselves or those things about ourselves that we think are going to be things that that person is going to like, or that's going to increase our chances of this working out.
Right.
You know, so it's interesting to know that all of these things had been happening prior to our first conversation, prior to us meeting, but that in all reality, neither one of us were really aware of it.
Right.
And so when we met and we talked, we weren't trying to tick off the boxes of what it was we knew the other person wanted. We were just authentically and honestly.
In fact, I didn't even know you were a writer until I guess the second or third day we were in Daytona. I had no idea that you had written so much stuff. And by the way, all the stuff that she wrote in the book, there's way more than that. She had been writing for a couple of years before she met me.
I've been writing since I was probably 5 or 6 years old, honestly.
So I mean, there's a lot more to just the little bit that you put in our book. But the book was about our first couple months together, our first 6-7 months together, and of course we got volume 2 pretty well in the books too. But it was, we wanted to come on and talk about some of the things that happened, because when we first got together, we spent a lot of time as a family. Even the first 4 days in Daytona, people on the beach were like, you want us to take a family photo of you, and people were calling us a family, and we had literally just met. But that's how obvious it was that this was meant to be. And
I think that really just speaks for the fact that we were both truly present, not at the beach in those moments, but present and living our lives in a way that was
enjoyable,
that was in alignment with who we were, that we were living lives of integrity, we were living lives that were not just for show, we were living lives that were about putting forth our authentic selves and embracing our self-worth and our self-empowerment. And when you live from that kind of place and you act on a daily basis, you make decisions from that place, it shows.
Well,
it's evident.
It was so authentic.
And people can see it. And so whether or not you and I had ended up deciding that this is what we want and we're going to move forward with this or not, or if we had decided, you know what, you're a great person, I enjoy you, I think we could be best friends. I think what people saw when they saw us together were two people who were really just shining a light and being an example of how you can live present in the moment, enjoying each second and each moment as it unfolds, and being real and authentic, and not having to be something you're not.
It really was. It was my chance to be so real, because I felt so at home being with Cammie, so at home being with you. We built the sandcastle. We had such a great time, and it just felt like I was where I was supposed to be.
And people see that, and people resonate with that. Like I didn't
have to force anything.
like if the best way to get any sort of attention from people, not that that's what we're after,
Right.
but people are drawn to people that they see
Happy. We get it in
it,
restaurants all the
like
time.
you may not realize it. You may have different beliefs, and I encourage everyone to have their own beliefs. I do not encourage anyone to take what I say I believe and think that it's the only way.
Right.
Okay, and that's something I think is extremely important.
Right.
But beyond those beliefs, there's these core, just fundamental human qualities that we all have, where we are attracted to those people that are like those beacons of light, those beacons of hope, those examples of being real and authentic and being unconcerned with what the rest of the world is thinking. Like, because anywhere you go, you can look across a crowd and you can spot the people who are looking around nervously trying to make sure that they're fitting in.
Right.
Or the people who are like self-conscious and maybe holding back or responding like with what they think are the right answers. And then you can spot those people who are just relaxed and within themselves and just confidently but compassionately and humbly just being a living example of what it is when you see compassion in action, like, and self-love in action. Like, so these are all traits and qualities we talk about, but they're not just things that we have to have and hold within ourselves. They're things that we have to put into action and let them be evident and seen by others through the decisions we make, the actions we take, the words we use, the way that we treat and other people, the way that we interact in any given situation. And so that's just, I think, taking all of those concepts and truly internalizing them so that they're not just, oh, I can say I love myself. I can say I found my self-worth. I can say I'm empowered. But then do your actions and your behavior and your consistent day-to-day personality, what people would call your personality, do they truly embody those things that you say that you have found and that you have?
Consistency is a big one. It really is. It's how I've done that with my writing. I've been consistent with it every day. It's something that I just enjoy doing, and it's consistent in our relationship too. We don't waver. We've had our I won't say arguments, but we've had our discussions where. And it's so cute what we do because Cammy will be like, "Now you two kiss and make up," but any other time it's like, "You guys just get away from each other." That's inappropriate behavior. But it's a willingness to talk any disagreements out or just what I won't even call them arguments because
I think they're just opportunities for you to look a little deeper into aspects that you feel you have healed from, or things that you have healed, or
realize that you're not always right either.
That you feel like, oh, I've dealt with that, I've got that under control, but it's not really like healing. For instance, it's not something that's just done and completed, and once you've done it, you never have to address it again.
No, because the memories are going to come back.
Well, and it's something that you're going to constantly be reaching a new level of self-understanding, a new level of knowledge, a new level of awareness. And at each one of those stages, that healing is going to take a new form, and maybe even a deeper form, a more complete healing. And I think that once you find that person that's willing to just be present with you in those moments and not take it personally, and acknowledge and see and realize, you know what, this is a moment when, rather than judgment or criticism or withdrawal or argument, what they truly need from me right now is validation, reassurance, support, and a reminder that I see the greatness in them, and I applaud everything that you've already made it through. And I'm here for you to help you
Well, when you
through
care about
every other
somebody,
step.
that's what you do. You
Right.
listen. You listen, and you're compassionate towards that person. And that's exactly why I knew you were the right one for me. It was the compassion we showed for each other when we got sick with the COVID, when we had our little ups and downs, and whatever with the jobs and everything else. We stuck by each other, but it's that, I think so many people just, oh,
A lot of people will get into those moments and they'll flip it back around.
right.
Like, oh, you told me you healed from this, that you were over that you worked through that, and that wasn't an issue for you anymore. Well, clearly it is, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be doing this and this and this,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then they use it as like this blanket statement for, I just don't know if I can be in this relationship, like, because
Right.
clearly you say you've changed, but you haven't,
Right.
and so they just, and really that's a reflection of themselves.
Right.
Because if they truly were at a point where they had healed, they would recognize that moment as an opportunity for them to show compassion, to show love, to show presence, and to just listen and to validate and to not place blame, not to point fingers, not to say you're right or you're wrong, but to just say, I'm here.
Right.
And when I said I loved you, I meant I loved you on good days, bad days, when we agree, when we disagree, when we
Even on the incident days.
yeah, even on the incident days, because those because all of those moments are moments when you realize that the similarities are the things that brought you together,
Right.
but the differences are the things that really, when you use them correctly, are the things that are going to give you power
You gotta make you stronger.
and make you stronger and increase your ability to positively impact and influence anyone who you interact with on whatever platform, if it's social media or if it's person in face, however, so it's like that. I think you and I can both admit that there are a lot of things that, I mean, it's not like we thought we were exactly the same when we first met.
No.
But I think that part of the natural progression of any relationship is realizing where your differences lie, and
accepting them,
and being intentional about how you react or respond to those differences, and realizing that they are actually something that can be used to collectively by both of you to balance each other and to just build momentum and build strength and to learn from each other and to even expand whatever it is you're trying to share, the message you're trying to share.
Well,
because there's never one perspective that's the right perspective.
That's true. Everybody's got their own perspective, but you really do broaden your mind when you're willing to listen to someone else and care about their feelings, which you have mine and I have yours. And I think that's the key to it all, is just really caring about each other. Caring about your future together, and not only that, but making it the best that you probably had thought you probably could. I really didn't think we'd ever write a book, and then boom, we did. We're gonna write another one. I'm sure we will. Who knows what's gonna happen with the Glory Youth Foundation, which we will be on another video tomorrow morning with children from Georgia again, and we'll be on. There's some kids from Brazil, and how we got involved in that again is just another miracle in the making. But we're both excited about that, and hope you can join us at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'm sure that'll be it'll be on the Glory Future Foundation's website, and I'll post the link afterwards, the recording of it. But we've had a great time with the kids. They've asked us a ton of questions, and it just that one day that it was like a 2-hour video. They just kept on asking us.
I think both days it ended up being close to 2 hours.
Yeah. They're really neat kids, and they want a better future for the world. And I think, it really is another thing that God's leading us to do. I don't know where it's going to take us. I don't know wherever. We really don't know where
We don't
all
have
this
to
is
know.
going to know. But it's been one hell of a ride. Happy anniversary, sweetheart.
Happy anniversary.
If I had to do it all over again, I would jump in even quicker. We would have been married the first night.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change a thing. I just wish I would have found you sooner. I can't imagine a life we could have built, but there's a reason behind the journey we took. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think one of our first songs that we shared with each other was "God Bless a Broken Road," and I truly do think He blessed our roads to finally meet.
And it's so interesting to see things as they develop, with among our mutual goals and our mutual things that we're involved in right now, and how the individual kind of skills and experiences
Right.
that I gained through my life journey, and the things that you gained through your life journey, and how they come together and are such a perfect blend of exactly what it is that makes us
The streetwise
the
kid.
the fit that
marries
we
the
are
professor.
for these types of things. Like I think part of the reason like these kids really like talking to us is because we're able to offer such a
Authentic view.
like a real view, and when I can offer an opinion, and he can offer an opinion or a perspective, and all of that time that we weren't together, there was meaning in the waiting.
Right.
There was meaning in
There were
everything that was
lessons
going
learned.
on, because it really made us who we were.
Made us whole.
So that when we did meet, it was in divine timing, and we were at a place where we were ready and able to take all of those things we had learned and put them out there, so that we could
share it.
be an example of what a relationship can be like. Be an example of using your voice to speak up about things that matter to you without being forceful or domineering or things like that. But you
want to end it at 33 minutes?
we can.
I just looked at the timer. It's almost 33 minutes into our video. It is our anniversary, and we're gonna go maybe pop some popcorn and watch a movie together. And who knows?
And maybe pop a cork.
Maybe, yeah. We got a bottle of wine, by the way.
But we're lightweights. We usually drink like half a glass.
Yeah,
and
we
we're
drink
like,
a half a
that
glass
was good. See,
with
that
ice
later.
in it. But anyway, y'all have a wonderful rest of the weekend. It is our anniversary, our 1 year anniversary tomorrow, and we will be live at 11 Eastern Time a.m. With the Glory Future Foundation.
And make sure you're staying tuned for the announcements about our upcoming docu-series that we're going to be doing on YouTube, which will be a little bit different format, but that is coming up. We don't want you to miss out on that. We did a little intro on that, just about what is magical, what are we going to talk about, like how love is a shared spiritual expansion, and how love is a lifestyle, and that is coming up. So don't think that that's not any really happening. It is really happening, but we're really working on perfecting the way that we present that information, so that it is something that reaches a global audience.
So remember to check us.
It's important for yes.
Remember to check us out on YouTube, and like our like and subscribe, and and follow our page on Facebook. And we love you guys. I was trying to end it at 33, but we messed it up. We love you guys. Have a great weekend.